that privacy, that idea of who you are and what you know about it, it's a privilege and it can be taken away at any minute.
LinkedIn would be very proud of his bio, I'm telling you. He's had multiple, he's worked for 20 years and done some real kick-ass work. He was the head advertising at Disney Hotstar, where he grew the platform's revenue more than 8x over 3 years. He's held other leadership positions in Times Internet, Yahoo, Ernst & Young, McKinsey and IMG. Currently, he's the CEO of GIO Ads, the advertising arm of Jio Platforms, which reaches more than 450 million users. That's a huge, huge number. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome CEO GIO Ads, Gulshan Verma.
Hi everyone. Obviously we're a year old, so we kind of, put ourselves out a bit more. It's Geo Ads, not GIO Ads. Thank you. It's Gulshan Verma, not Varan. So I'm glad now, Puneet, if you'd give me, I'll take 1 second to tell people who we are, just so that we get it correct. Here it is, sorry. Let me just talk about who we are, just so this. So, about a year ago, so we're just a year old. So the work may not be as kick-ass as we want it to be, but it's interesting. We are the advertising arm of Jio. A year ago, the team was 2 of us sitting across a Zoom call, and we're now about 170 people across product engineering and a bunch of interesting things that we do. And who we are is a platform that links consumers in multiple contexts. So we happen to have 450 million billing relationships with our customers. That's a pretty interesting position to be in. They work with us, they charge us, they carry their SIM cards around with us. We also happen to be a large content provider and aggregator. We connect pretty much 400 million plus. We also happen to be India's largest retailer. We're working very closely with the gentleman who spoke before me to help build ONDC, and we think there's going to be a lot of interesting opportunities there. But fundamentally what we're trying to do is build the idea that how do all 3 work together for marketers, digitally? And that's pretty much kind of what we're trying to do. It's interesting, I think, some new ideas, and what this means is we know these 450 million people, they trust us with their identity, they trust us with their billing relationships, they trust us with what they watch, and we have a lot of insights about them. So, we know that 13.47 million people determinedly order fast food. Probably 2 or 3 of them are me, myself. We know that 12.69 million people have bought mutual funds deterministically. For those of you, that's 50% of the mutual fund buying audience in the country. We know that 62.5 million of them are parents. We have a point of view on how many people have an EMI, also watching OTT, so it's a pretty interesting place to be. It's just a really interesting view to get a view of the consumer. But the context of this is I'm kind of going into the point here, which is how do we bring it all together and put it for advertisers, and how do they do it? So here is our client. It's AMFI, Association of Mutual Funds of India. And you take some of those ideas that we thought about, and how do you mix it all together at a deterministic level? So let me see if this is the ad.
ये देख सारे प्लेयर की परफॉर्मेंस वाह भाई काश म्यूचुअल फंड्स में भी ऐसा होता सारे फंड्स और उनके परफॉर्मेंस देखने मिल जाते
तो है ना म्यूचुअल फंड सही है .com पर जा वहाँ पे हर फंड का परफॉर्मेंस देखने मिल जाएगा
नाइस
लेकिन सिर्फ 5 परफॉर्मेंस पे मत जा आगे क्या होगा किसी को नहीं पता
बात तो सही है
तो वो दिखा दो
म्यूचुअल फंड निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है। योजना से जुड़े सभी दस्तावेजों को ध्यान से पढ़ें।
And that's how to speak fast. The next one.
प्रेम कहाँ है मेरी?
म्यूचुअल फंड से ड्रीम को अपना गोल बना ले।
तो पैसे नहीं यार मेरे पास।
देख लाइफ में तेरा जो भी गोल बड़ा या छोटा उसके लिए हर महीने अलग अलग एसआईपी में इन्वेस्ट कर। जितना बड़ा गोल उतना बड़ा अमाउंट और उतना ज्यादा टाइम।
तो सही है।
म्यूचुअल फंड निवेश बाजार जोखिमों के अधीन है। योजना से जुड़े सभी दस्तावेजों को ध्यान से पढ़ें।
And so we're an advertising platform. What I think is interesting is this. Every ad goes to somebody who's deterministic there. So if you're looking to save for a car, we're targeting the people who have an EMI, saying, why are you saving? Why are you spending money on EMI? You should actually be using mutual funds to invest. So we targeted that one at the people who have EMIs and who are digital wallet users. The first ad was targeted at people who we know have bought mutual funds. And all of a sudden you start putting this together. And we're actually able downstream to figure out, does this make an impact? Do we show people, are they as active in mutual funds? Are they actually moving away? Are we adding new customers to them? And the whole interesting thing is that as you're mobile, it reflects both your online life and your real life. So I'm just going to skip past a few things, but I think it's really interesting from that perspective as we move away from a world in which we are taking algorithms to a world which is we're understanding both your offline and online life. I'm just going to skip past a few things. What I want to talk about now is actually a campaign that I actually really liked, and I was very specific. It's been an interesting kind of lockdown period. It's been a lot of chaos, a lot of new things have happened in the world, the war in Ukraine, the sports, the change in Afghanistan. I thought those are really, really big, powerful things, and luckily I figured out that other more smarter people than myself would talk about them. So I actually really liked this Data Sky campaign, and the reason I liked it is it took one very simple insight, which the screen that we watch is also the screen that can watch you and take your emotions from that. So for those of you who haven't seen it, this is the campaign. The whole idea of this campaign was, we are watching you while you're watching us. And the kind of range of emotions that you show. And it's not just a video, right? There were AR filters, there were influencers, there were different scopes, different screen sizes, people watching on the train, people watching in large screens, in the bar together. And I think that concept is super powerful and super interesting. It was taken to like a very interesting take. So my view right now is actually this is a really interesting idea, executed fabulously well, and taken to its kind of interesting opportunity. I'm very aware of the time, so Punita, I'm just on track. I was thinking about what would I want to know and what would I want to think about if I was on the stage. And I'm very clear on 2 or 3 things. I think I want to know what do I do differently. And I think there's a tendency to believe that digital is everything. And the only thing that matters is digital. And I actually don't believe that. I actually think, just like the gentleman before me was talking about, is that my customers are different, whether they're based upon my demographics or whether my behavior. So we've seen people trying to over-target, trying to be super efficient. And my point of view is that, and I've seen this, if you look at people who buy toys, 50% of them are actually parents. 30% of them are gifting. Nanan, Mosi, Mamu, Chachu, whatever it is. And 20% is just random. So the whole idea of over-targeting is very prevalent among us. I just think that it's always good to take a step back and figure out there is a big audience out there. If you only focus on the people who are ready to buy your product, you'll never build a new product. The second one is don't just focus on online signals. Look at geography-based signals. Here's an example. 1% of Indians have a pet. We think that will grow to 5% in the next 5 years, but that 1% is pretty interesting. But if you could figure out who has visited a vet twice in the last 6 months, you're pretty good at finding that 1%. It doesn't really matter if they've signed up, they give you that information. Your location insights tells a lot about them. And so ignoring the geographic and real life signals is really something I would like, not do. And, we think about this a lot. We talk about this a lot. We have nearly 500 million consumers who trust us with their information. We hope to launch 5G in the next few weeks, where it's not just about people, but it's also about things. That privacy, that idea of who you are and what you know about it, it's a privilege and it can be taken away at any minute. So my only statement right now is, when you think about building your digital strategy, why should people trust you with that information? Why should people give you their insights? Okay. How is it that you're creating value from them? Build that privacy first. Done. Thanks.